I now own 3 titanium watches, the Grand Seiko Snowflake, the Longines Spirit Zulu, and the Neutra Rivanera. These watches are all titaniums, but they are extremely different one from the other. And today I'm going to compare them head to head, and I'm also going to try and explain why lately I have been buying mostly titanium watches. And if you're new here, well, welcome. My name is Michele, this is my dog Marshmallow, and we normally review coats, but sometimes we also review watches, and today it's one of those days. Let's start with a quick overview of these 3 watches, which, as I said, are very different. First of all, let's start with the Grand Seiko Snowflake. This is one of those watches that made me immediately fall in love the first time I saw it online in photos. I have been into watches since I was 14. I started with swatches that were my getaway drugs into the world of watches, and I actually have a video that shows my collection of swatches from the 80s and 90s. This was the first watch since falling in love with watches that made me stop and say, I absolutely need to have it. I never really fell in love with any other watch the way that I fell in love with this one. The Longines Spirit Zulu is the most recent purchase among these 3 watches. It definitely has a very different vibe. This is more of a tool watch vibe. Unlike the Snowflake, when I saw the Spirit Zulu, I was never madly in love. In the end, I decided to buy it because I wanted a mechanical watch that would track 3 time zones. This is a GMT watch that can track definitely 2, possibly 3 with some imagination and some math in your head. And I wanted something that could do that without being my digital G-Shock. So I bought it for a specific reason, because I want it to be my travel watch, and but not because I fell in love with it, if it makes sense. The third watch on the list today is this Eco Neutra, or as they say, Eco Neutra. Not sure. It's an Italian brand. I'm Italian. I would pronounce it Eco Neutra, but I don't know. And this is the Neutra Rivanera. This is a watch that I discovered relatively recently. I actually remember watching a video online by somebody, I don't remember who, and I thought it was a really cool watch. At the time, the watch cost $1,500 when I discovered it, but when I bought it, it actually had gone up to $1,800. This is the only watch of the 3 that I bought new, but it was part of a package deal, so I really didn't pay $1,800, but I don't know exactly how much I paid. Very different vibe, very minimalistic, very art deco, very different usage of titanium, which makes it really unique. And it also is another watch that when I saw it, I felt it needed to be in my collection. Now, when I look at the 3 watches next to one another, they all look, as I said, very different despite the material. In terms of size and comfort, the Grand Seiko is the largest, and it definitely feels like the largest when you put it on your wrist. It's a 41 millimeter dial. The Longines is a 39 millimeter dial, and the Eco Neutra really is an outlier because it has the rectangular shape. But I would say that it wears more or less like a 39 millimeter dial. In terms of comfort, the Longines and the Grand Seiko are pretty much the same. I would say that perhaps the Longines bracelet is a tad more comfortable than the Grand Seiko bracelet. The Longines also has a micro adjuster that the Grand Seiko does not have. The Eco Neutra, it's its own thing. It comes with 2 straps, one in horse leather, which is the one that I have it on right now, and the other one is a rubber strap. So in terms of comfort, it's probably the best, simply because you can really adjust it to your wrist size. In terms of dial, I would say that the Grand Seiko is definitely the best. That's what Grand Seiko's watches are known for. You're buying a Grand Seiko for 2 things, essentially, the dials and the movement. So I personally think that out of the 3, this Grand Seiko is by far the best. I would say that the Eco Neutra is the number 2 just because it's something so unique. Nobody had done a tank style watch in this type of titanium, and I feel it stands out. The Longines is, I feel, the most boring one of the three. It's the most common. It's the one that really does not stand out in terms of design. You can barely see, for instance, that you have a bicolor bezel. The top is black, the bottom is gray. And I wish that the two-tone had been more pronounced. Personally, it would have made it stand out a little more. But definitely the Grand Seiko, the clear winner in terms of dial. In terms of versatility, as I said already, the Grand Seiko is the clear winner. It's the watch that could be the one watch collection type of watch. If you can only have one watch and you have the budget for it, this is the best among the three, absolutely. It can be worn on pretty much anything, and it's going to look fantastic in everything. In terms of movement, again, personally, I feel that the Grand Seiko gets the cake here. This is a spring movement, which basically is a mix of a mechanical and a quartz technology, and I'm keeping it really, really simple. And it's what makes the sweeping motion of the second hand possible. It's mesmerizing if you're into that. It's also the most accurate among the three watches. The Longines uses the Longines caliber 844, which is also COSC certified. COSC is a certification that ensures that a watch is accurate within certain parameters. What it means is that it's definitely extremely accurate, but not as accurate as the Grand Seiko. But when you're buying a mechanical watch, you know that you're not buying a watch that is 100% accurate. If you want that, buy the atomic version of the G-Shock that connects automatically to the atomic watches in the world and keeps the good time. But since I don't need to go and bomb Germany tomorrow morning at 10.0232 seconds, I really don't care about that. I will add that the Longines is the only one of the three that makes a noise when the rotor moves. Of course, the Echo Neutra doesn't have a rotor because it's manual, but this one is the only watch I own, actually, that makes a lot of noise. I don't know if it's normal, it makes noise, but, you know, it is what it is. The Rivanera uses a manually wound mechanism, unlike the other two, and that's the reason why it is so tiny. And it's a good mechanism. It's not as accurate as either the Zulu or the Grand Seiko, but because this is not my daily wear, I only use this on certain occasions or with certain outfits. Again, I don't care. So really doesn't matter. I would say if you had to rank them, you would probably say that the Longines is superior to the Grand Seiko if you are a purist and you don't believe that the spring drive should be considered a real mechanical movement. If instead, like me, do not care about that BS, you put the Grand Seiko as the better movement. Now, in terms of legibility, this is where the Longines definitely shines. The Longines has a visibility which is way better than either the Grand Seiko and the Echo Neutra, and for various reasons. First of all, the color combo. The Longines has a black dial with golden hands, so that makes it extremely readable, and also from very different angles, which is a plus. I will, though, say that the legibility of the GMT hand, the hand that tracks the second time zone, is not as good because they chose to have that hand of the same color as the dial with just the tip in red, which makes it very hard to read. When I bought this watch, I wanted something that I could read the time zones at a glance, and I'm not getting it. So although it is the most legible in terms of time, it has problems in terms of the GMT readability. I've read online that people say like that I could change the hand. I'm not doing any of that. But the number two, I would say, is the Grand Seiko. It's a white dial, and the hands are, silverish with Zuratsu polishing, which I'm not going to go into. But what it means is that the contrast is less, and it is definitely less legible than the Longines. This does not mean that it's difficult to read it. It just means that the other one is easier. However, it's something to keep in mind if you are an older person. And as I am getting older, I notice that it's more difficult for me to see well white dials. And it's something to keep in mind. The Eco Neutra is the worst in terms of readability because it's black on darkish gray. So not the best. You really kind of need to pay attention. Looking at the Eco Neutra, I get an idea of more or less what time it is, so that's good for me. In terms of weight, the Eco Neutra definitely wins the cake here because it comes in at 30 grams, which is nothing. And surprisingly, the Grand Seiko is the heaviest. I thought wearing the Grand Seiko and the Longines back to back that the Longines was actually heavier, but it's actually the Grand Seiko which is heavier. And it's very interesting because even now that I'm holding them in my hands, I would tell you that the Longines is heavier, but the scale says differently. In terms of costs, the most expensive one is the Grand Seiko, which clocks in at $6,900. The second most expensive is the Longines, which comes in at $4,850. And the third is the Eco Neutra, which is $1,800 right now. The only one that I bought new is the Eco Neutra. I've actually gotten both the Longines and the Grand Seiko used, so you don't have to spend that much money to get them to get these watches. You can find them on forums online. The Grand Seiko, as I said, for around 4,000. 4,500, and the Longines you can find it for 3,000 if you want the titanium one. If you want the steel one, you can find it around 2,000, 2,100. So you can definitely find it cheaper. Up until a few years ago, I would have never thought of buying a titanium watch. My response to titanium watches was that they were not heavy enough to feel premium. And I used to think that if I spent that much money on a watch, I wanted it to feel heavy on my wrist. I wanted to feel the presence of that watch. Lately, I have changed my opinion entirely. I've almost done a 180 on it. And it all happened thanks to the Grand Seiko. Because as I said, I fell in love with this watch regardless of the material. I just wanted it for the dial. So the material titanium was irrelevant. But when I got the Grand Seiko Snowflake, I started to wear it all the time. And I started to appreciate it a lot more over my still heavier watches like my Tags or the Hamilton or the Breitling. So because of that, I've been more and more curious about titanium. In the case of the Eco Neutra, I also liked the way that they have treated the titanium. I know this is a different grade of titanium compared to the Longines and the Grand Seiko, and that attracted me to it. I like that the titanium is hypoallergenic. I like that it's so light. I like that it's a modern material. I don't look at it as a precious material, but I can definitely appreciate how light these watches are. If I had to have just one of these watches, which one would I keep? You probably already guessed. I would definitely keep the Grand Seiko because it's the one that I keep on going back to. It's the one that puts a smile on my face every time I look at it. It's the one that makes me feel luxurious every time I wear it. This is completely personal. This is a feeling, an intangible feeling that I cannot explain, but that's how I feel when I wear this watch. It makes me feel good. And it's also extremely versatile, so it's definitely the one that I would save between the three. Now, the one that I would probably get rid the fastest, it's the Longines Spirit Zulu. And I am actually surprised by this because I have wanted this watch for a very long time. I tried this watch on and on in different watch shops. I was going back and forth between the 39 size and the 42 size. I was going back and forth with materials. I had even bought the gold version online, but there was a delay, so I ended up canceling the order. My point is that this was a very well pondered purchase, and yet it's the one that disappoints me the most. It's kind of meh looking. I don't understand the hype online about this watch. Best watch ever. There's like, it's fine. It's fine. But when you're spending $4,850, it shouldn't be fine. It should be, pretty cool. And I don't feel it. Well, I hope this review was interesting for you. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in reviews of watches and coats mostly. I hope to see you again soon.